Welcome to Epic, the channel where ancient mysteries come alive. Today, we're diving into 5 unexplained ancient artifacts you've never heard of, Part 1. Get ready to explore the secrets the past still refuses to give up. Roman dodecahedrons. Scattered across Europe, from the fields of France to the ruins of Britain, archaeologists have uncovered over 100 small, hollow objects dating back nearly 2,000 years. They're made of bronze, roughly the size of a baseball, and shaped like 12-sided polyhedrons. Each face has a circular hole in the center. Each corner is capped with a small knob. And not a single one comes with an explanation. They are known as the Roman dodecahedrons, and despite being found across the former Roman Empire, no ancient text ever mentions them. No written record explains what they were for, who used them, or why they were so widely distributed. Their size varies. Some are small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. Others are larger, with precise craftsmanship and smooth finishes. The holes on each face differ in diameter, and the symmetry of their construction suggests intentional design, not random decoration. So what were they? Theories abound. Some suggest they were tools, possibly used to measure the size of coins or calibrate water pipes. Others propose they were candlestick holders, dice, or components in astronomical instruments. One idea is that they were knitting gauges, used to create gloves by wrapping thread through the varying holes. But no residue of wax, thread, or soot has ever been found. And then there's the military theory, that they were used for calculating projectile angles or distances. But that idea fails to explain their absence in Roman military manuals or the fact that many were found in graves, not battlefields. More speculative interpretations suggest religious or spiritual purposes. Some believe the dodecahedrons were ritual objects used in ceremonies lost to time, objects whose function was symbolic rather than practical. Their frequent discovery alongside personal items supports this idea, as does the complete lack of standardization across the specimens. In modern times, 3D replicas have been used to test these ideas, but nothing definitive has emerged. Every theory is met with counterarguments, and still the mystery holds. Why would an empire as organized and literate as Rome produce an object in such numbers, only to leave no description of its use? Perhaps the Roman dodecahedrons served multiple purposes, some mundane, some sacred. Or perhaps they were part of a tradition so commonplace to the Romans that no one thought to write it down. Whatever the case, they now sit in museum cases around Europe, silent, symmetrical enigmas from a civilization that recorded almost everything, except this. Klarksdorp spheres. In the gold fields of South Africa, buried deep within 3-billion-year-old pyrophyllite deposits, miners began uncovering something completely unexpected: smooth, metallic spheres. Some were etched with parallel grooves that ran precisely around their circumference. Others were nearly perfect in shape, measuring a few centimeters across. These strange objects, later dubbed the Klarksdorp spheres, seemed oddly out of place in the ancient rock formations that held them. The spheres vary in color, some are dark metallic, others reddish or golden, and many exhibit an uncanny symmetry. Some are solid, others are hollow with a spongy center. What puzzles researchers most is their geological context. According to the dating of the surrounding rock layers, these formations are nearly 3 billion years old, long before any known intelligent life existed on Earth. Initial theories tried to explain them away as natural concretions, the result of mineral deposits forming over time. But others aren't so sure. The precise ridges on some of the spheres, and their near-perfect shapes, have led some to suggest they were manufactured, possibly by a highly advanced ancient civilization, or perhaps even of non-human origin. In the 1970s and 80s, reports circulated that the spheres were kept in the Klarksdorp Museum, where a curator claimed they spun on their own in sealed display cases. This sparked a wave of speculation. Were these artifacts remnants of lost technology? Did they serve a function we can no longer comprehend? Geologists later attempted to settle the debate, asserting the spheres were simply limonite concretions, naturally formed under specific pressure and chemical conditions over millions of years. But the grooves, their symmetry, their uniformity, continue to raise eyebrows, especially among those who have seen them up close. Skeptics and scientists insist there's no mystery. Nature, they say, is capable of producing astonishing forms. But for others, the spheres defy simple explanation. If they are natural, why do they appear so uniform, so deliberate? And if they are not, what kind of intelligence existed 3 billion years ago? So far, no consensus has been reached. The spheres remain locked behind glass or scattered across private collections, their story incomplete. The Earth may be old, but sometimes, it reveals things that feel older than logic itself. Sugar idol. In 1894, deep within the Ural Mountains of Russia, gold prospectors unearthed something strange from a peat bog, a massive wooden sculpture, broken into fragments, its surface covered in carvings no one could understand. What they had found was the sugar idol, a haunting, stylized wooden figure that would turn out to be the oldest known wooden artifact in the world. When fully assembled, the idol stood over 5 meters tall, with angular features, a humanoid face, and a body made entirely of geometric patterns, zigzags, and faces stacked one atop another. The peat had preserved it for millennia. But its age shocked researchers. Radiocarbon dating placed the idol at approximately 12,000 years old, twice as old as the Egyptian pyramids, older than Stonehenge, older than any known written language. The sugar idol wasn't carved by farmers or settled peoples. It was made by hunter-gatherers, people who, according to the traditional narrative, weren't supposed to create such complex symbolic art. And yet, here it stood, a towering totem wrapped in abstract symbols whose meanings remain undeciphered. Some believe the idol was a spiritual object, perhaps representing a creation myth or ancestral spirits. Others think it might be an early map, a warning, or a system of recording events. The faces engraved along its length are particularly unsettling, some human-like, others distorted, their expressions unknowable. Were they gods? Spirits? Something else entirely? The material used, larch wood, was carved with stone tools, a feat requiring both time and precision. And yet, without any form of written language, these ancient craftsmen managed to encode meaning into form, in a way that still resonates, even if we no longer understand what it says. In recent years, new dating methods confirmed the artifact's staggering age and only deepened the mystery. It was created during a time when Eurasia was still emerging from the Ice Age, when woolly mammoths still roamed, and civilization, at least as we define it, did not yet exist. So who made the sugar idol? And what message did they carve into its surface, hoping it would endure through time? 12 millennia later, it has endured. But the language it speaks is lost. Lycurgus Cup. At first glance, the Lycurgus Cup looks like a beautifully crafted Roman chalice, an intricate piece of glasswork from the 4th century CE. It's made of a greenish, translucent material, decorated with a vivid scene of King Lycurgus, the mythical Thracian ruler, entangled by vines as punishment for defying Dionysus. But the true wonder of the Lycurgus Cup isn't its mythology. It's what happens when you shine light through it. In normal lighting, the cup appears green. But when lit from behind, it glows a deep, luminous red. The transformation is stunning, almost magical. And yet, it's not magic. It's science. A science that, by all accounts, the Romans shouldn't have had. The Lycurgus Cup is the oldest known example of dichroic glass, a material that changes color depending on how light interacts with it. Modern researchers discovered that the effect comes from nanoparticles of gold and silver embedded within the glass, particles so small they're measured in billionths of a meter. These nanoparticles manipulate light through a process known as plasmon resonance, a concept not fully understood by modern science until the 20th century. So how did Roman artisans, nearly 1,600 years ago, manage to craft something so technologically advanced? Some believe it was an accident. That through repeated trial and error, Roman glassmakers stumbled upon the effect without understanding its physics. Others argue the precision required to evenly distribute nanoparticles throughout the glass suggests a deeper, more intentional knowledge, one that may have been lost over time. What makes the Lycurgus Cup even more mysterious is its uniqueness. Despite the vast output of Roman glassware, no other artifact from the period demonstrates the same optical phenomenon to such a degree. It stands alone, an outlier, brilliant and unexplained. Today, the cup resides in the British Museum, carefully preserved and studied under modern tools. Scientists have used electron microscopes and particle analysis to reverse engineer its properties, hoping to apply similar techniques in fields like security or biotechnology. But the cup's original purpose remains uncertain. Was it a ceremonial object meant to dazzle in candlelight? A display of wealth and power? Or was it something more, an intentional manipulation of light that hinted at a forgotten layer of Roman science? The Lycurgus Cup glows with ancient knowledge, just enough to mesmerize, but not enough to reveal all its secrets. Fuente Magna Bull. In the 1950s, near the shores of Lake Titicaca in Bolivia, a local farmer stumbled upon a heavy stone bowl half buried in the ground. At first, it seemed like a typical artifact of the region, an example of pre-Columbian pottery used in rituals or daily life. But when archaeologists examined the interior of the bowl, they found something utterly unexpected. Etched into the inner surface were two distinct sets of inscriptions, one resembling Sumerian cuneiform, and another similar to Proto-Sumerian pictographs. The artifact became known as the Fuente Magna bowl, and its implications were staggering. Sumerian script, as far as the mainstream timeline tells us, originated in Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, over 5,000 years ago, and had no connection to the Americas. Yet here it was, apparently inscribed on a bowl unearthed in the highlands of South America. If authentic, the Fuente Magna bowl could suggest a prehistoric transoceanic contact between the Old World and the New, a concept considered fringe or outright impossible by traditional archaeology. The question immediately arose, was this proof that the Sumerians, or some group with similar knowledge, had reached South America thousands of years before Columbus? Skeptics dismissed the artifact. Some claimed it was a modern forgery, created to provoke controversy or sell a narrative. Others argued the inscriptions were misidentified, merely coincidental markings that resembled known scripts. But proponents of the bowl's authenticity pointed to its weathering, the patina of age, and its discovery in an uncontrolled, non-commercial context. It was not found in a museum or purchased on the black market. It was dug up, unintentionally, by a farmer plowing his land. Attempts have been made to translate the inscriptions using Sumerian lexicons. Some interpretations suggest the bowl was used in fertility rituals, perhaps invoking a goddess or ceremonial offering. But without broader context, no matching artifacts, no supporting ruins, its story remains incomplete. Today, the Fuente Magna bowl is housed in a museum in La Paz, largely dismissed by academic institutions but still studied by independent researchers and alternative historians. For mainstream scholars, it's an outlier at best. For others, it's a clue, one piece of a larger puzzle about ancient seafaring, cultural exchange, and forgotten civilizations. And like many ancient mysteries, it leaves us with more questions than answers. The mystery continues. Subscribe to Epic Ancient Mysteries and join the search.